one of the tools that I rely on really heavily is the GPS and the cartography mapping. There's a lot of different options out there. Navionics and Lakemaster are the two primary ones. I actually use both chips, but I run the Lakemaster chip most of the time. The reason is that when you integrate the Lakemaster with Humminbird and iPilot Link, you get a tremendous amount of features that only work with that Lakemaster card that are very useful. So when people ask me, you know, how do I go out, how do I find blue catfish? Well, there's a lot of different ways to go about doing that, and blue catfish will be in a lot of different areas. In its most simplest form, find the bait and find the fish. Usually if you can find food, you're going to find fish close to them. But one of the things that I use to locate blue catfish is the lake maps, cartography maps, and GPS. Blue catfish, I've said many times, are creatures of edges and ledges. Now that doesn't mean that you won't find them on mudflats or you know, big expansive areas that don't have a lot of structure to them, but it's pretty common knowledge to most people that targeting structure is one of the easiest ways to locate blue catfish, especially in the beginning. So whether that be points or humps, river channels, any type of structure at all, blue catfish have tendency to use these areas or this structure like underwater highways, and they'll follow them to different areas when they're going to feed or when they're moving from one area to another. And they will also use these areas to their advantage to ambush prey and feed. So a lot of people will solely target structure when they're trying to locate and catch blue catfish. And that's where the mapping comes into play, because you can go in, you can look, and you can find, you know, river channels and points and structure and things like that, and it works to your advantage to being able to find that stuff, follow it, come back and find it later. Well, a lot of times, as accurate as these mapping chips are, a lot of times they're not completely accurate. There's little variances in the bottom of the lake or river that don't match the mapping card, whether that be just through you know, the force of the water moving around, silt coming in, and lakes being silted in like we have a big problem here, or even with man-made things like people coming in and dredging and cleaning things out. And a lot of times you begin to find inaccuracies in these maps. So Humminbird has a really cool feature that works with this Lakemaster chip and many of the Humminbird units, like the Onyx 10 that I'm running here, and it's called Autochart Live. And what Autochart Live does is allows you to go in and map an area. So it will take the information that the transducer is reading, and it will update the lake maps with current, more accurate information, real time, what you're seeing down below, and save all of that onto your sonar unit. So you've got an incredibly accurate map right at your fingertips. So I use this a lot of times. I use it all the time, but I use it a lot of times if I go into an area that I really like to fish heavily, and it's something that I target a lot. I will go in and I will cover that area and remap that area so I have a different map. Or if I find something on my sonar where I'm driving along and I say, yeah, you know, that, look at the contours there, and what I'm seeing on my sonar screen is not exactly accurate, and I'll go in a lot of times and remap those areas. And that allows me oftentimes to find things that I wouldn't normally find on the base mapping card as they come. A lot of times you'll find little indentations or little humps or things like that that may not seem like a big deal, but in all actuality, when you go in and find them on the map and then really look at them with your sonar, a lot of times they're gold mines to going in and locating and catching catfish. And Humminbird has made this super easy. There's no uploads, there's no nothing that you have to do. All you do is go in to your mapping card with that Lakemaster chip. When you get to an area that you want to map, you turn on the Autochart Live function and drive through the area just like you would if you were scanning for fish. You can continue to use your sonar. You can continue to look for fish on down imaging, side imaging, 2D, whatever you want to do. And that Autochart Live will update that map real time while you're driving over it and give you all the updated contours and elevations and everything that's down below your boat. You can scan a really small area, or you can go in and make multiple passes and really scan a larger area and update that map. Now again, this is a really useful tool if you're really spending a lot of time targeting structure and you want to really go in and make sure you've got accurate information, and you want to uncover some areas that may not necessarily exist on any of the maps. Because I've found a lot of things using this Autochart Live that I've driven over probably hundreds of thousands of times, maybe, if not thousands of times, that I never knew existed just by going in and mapping with this Autochart Live. So again, that's Autochart Live, works with many of the Humminbird sonar units. You can check out more information on which units that works with on the Humminbird website. And again, works with the Lakemaster mapping card. There's a lot of other functions that this Lakemaster mapping card will provide when you combine it with the iPilot Link. Again, I'll cover some more information on that later. But if you want to go out and locate and catch blue catfish, remember, first of all, edges and ledges are a great place to start. Any kind of structure is oftentimes a great place to find blue catfish. And if you really want to dial in those maps and get the most accurate information possible, Autochart Live is a great way to do that. You don't have to upload anything to the internet. You don't have to swap cards and put stuff on your computer or anything else. And best of all, you can keep that information private on your sonar unit, so you're not broadcasting all of that information out to everybody in the world to provide updated maps for everybody and hone other people in on areas that might be hot spots for locating and catching catfish. So that's Autochart Live and some tips on locating and catching blue catfish. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you like this information. Head over to catfishedge.com for even more in-depth information, tips, and tricks on locating and catching catfish. Make sure you subscribe to the Catfish Edge YouTube channel. If you got questions about this or anything else with fishing for catfish, leave a comment down below. Let me know. I love to hear from you. I love to hear your questions, what you think about this, and what other questions that you have about locating and catching catfish. Until next time, I'm Chad Ferguson, catfishedge.com.